This is not a coincidence. You have been chosen. These are not just poetic words. They are a spiritual alarm, a wake-up call sent straight from the heavens to the depths of your soul. Out of the billions of people on this planet, you're not reading these words by accident. There's no randomness here. This moment is divine orchestration, and you are standing in the middle of a sacred intersection where destiny meets decision. What you are about to hear is not casual, motivational talk. It's not a video designed to entertain you or pass time. This is something different. Something rare. Something holy. It is, in the words of the content itself, a divine transmission, a message not crafted by human inspiration alone, but one delivered in perfect timing to the heart that's been prepared to receive it. If you feel a stirring in your chest, if something within you is quietly saying, "Yes, this is for me," don't ignore that voice. That's the Spirit aligning with truth. That's confirmation. The same power that guided Moses through the desert, that raised Joseph from the prison to the palace, is whispering to you now, this is your moment. But let's be clear. This isn't just about wealth. This isn't just about becoming a millionaire, though that may very well be part of your journey. This is about purpose. Divine purpose. You've been called, not only to prosper, but to impact. To carry a light that transforms others. To become a living testimony that when God chooses someone, no amount of delay, betrayal, or opposition can stop the blessing that follows obedience. You were never meant to live a life of survival. You were meant to live a life of significance. And that significance begins the moment you stop asking whether you're worthy and start declaring, "I was made for this. I was chosen. I am ready." Before we go any further, I want to pause. Because I need you to understand how much your presence here matters. You may think you're just watching another message on YouTube, but this is more than a message. This is a divine appointment. And your willingness to show up, to read, to listen, to lean in, proves that you are already on the path. To those of you who have supported this channel through super thanks, I want to honor you. Your generosity is not just a gift. It's a spiritual seed. A declaration of belief. An offering of faith. It says to the universe, I am invested. I believe. I'm not just receiving, I'm contributing to the movement. And for those who haven't given financially, please hear me, your presence alone carries value. Your energy, your focus, your desire to grow, it is seen, and it is sacred. Now I ask you to do something bold. Something symbolic. Something prophetic. Go to the comments and write your warmest, most heartfelt wish for your life, and follow it with the number 999. This number is not arbitrary. It's a spiritual code. It represents completion, transformation, and the fulfillment of divine purpose. When you write this number, you are not just commenting. You are activating. You are saying, I'm done with lack. I'm done with fear. I'm done with delay. I am ready to walk in what God has already written for me. This is more than engagement. This is alignment. This is declaration. So, take a moment. Reflect. Then write it. 999 plus your vision. And if this message is already resonating with something deep inside you, I invite you to like this video, not for the algorithm, but as a sign of agreement. As a declaration that says, yes. I receive this. I am in alignment. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to this channel. We are on a mission, a spiritual movement, to awaken those who are called, and to reach 5,000 souls who are ready to rise. Your subscription is not just support, it's spiritual solidarity. So go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment 999 with your heart's desire. Seal this moment with intentionality. Because everything that comes next depends on how present you are right now. This message is not here to convince you. It is here to remind you. To reconnect you with what your spirit has always known, you were born for more. You felt it for years, haven't you? That quiet restlessness that tells you there's something different about you. That inner resistance to mediocrity. That unshakable whisper that keeps saying, you were not made to live small. You've tried to explain it. You've tried to ignore it. But it never left. Because you were chosen. And now, the calling is becoming too loud to ignore. So I ask you again, not with pressure, but with sacred urgency, are you ready to receive this? Are you ready to be more than just a hearer of truth, but a doer? Are you ready to stop questioning if you're chosen and start living like you are? Are you ready to say with conviction, this is my time. This is my word. This is my moment. Because if you are, I want you to make a decision, not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Be fully here. Be fully open. Be fully ready. Because the next words you're about to hear, the teachings, the revelations, the instructions, are not suggestions. They are keys. Keys that open doors you thought were locked. Keys that unlock your potential, your provision, and your purpose. Every word from this point forward is part of your divine strategy. This is not just the beginning of a video. This is the beginning of your transformation. So take a deep breath. Still your heart. And anchor in. Because what we're about to explore together could change everything. You were never meant to live a life of struggle. You were never meant to wander through this world aimlessly, settling for scraps when you were born to sit at the table of abundance. That deep feeling inside of you, the one that has always whispered, you were made for something more, that voice is not fantasy. It is not ego. It is not wishful thinking. It is truth, planted in your spirit by God Himself. If you have ever wondered why you feel different, why mediocrity makes you restless, why playing small leaves you frustrated instead of satisfied, it's because your soul remembers something your circumstances may have tried to make you forget. You were chosen for a greater purpose. Not everyone hears this message and feels it. Not everyone reads these words and recognizes themselves in them. But you do. You sense the resonance. You feel the stirring. Because the call of destiny is not new to you. It's familiar. You've heard it in your dreams, in your silence, and in the tears you couldn't explain. And now it's being spoken out loud. You were born to rise. The truth is, God never designed you for lack. He never assigned you a life of just getting by. He didn't place you on this earth just to pay bills, survive hardships, and die forgotten. He wrote a different story for you, and that story is anchored in one of the most powerful promises ever recorded. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29 verse 11. Let that sink in. These are not vague possibilities. These are divine guarantees. Plans to prosper you. Plans to give you hope. Plans to give you a future. The roadmap to your abundance has already been laid out, not because of your background or connections, but because of who you are and what you carry. Still, many people believe the lie that wealth is reserved only for the privileged, the ones born into opportunity, the ones who got lucky. But that belief is a spiritual deception. And nothing illustrates this truth more clearly than the story of David. David was not born into royalty. He was not a prince, a scholar, or a man of influence. He was a shepherd, a boy overlooked even by his own father. When the prophet came to anoint a new king, David wasn't even invited into the room. And yet, God saw him. God chose him. And when the moment came, David stepped forward, not because of his pedigree, but because of his calling. He was overlooked by everyone, except by God. What a profound truth. You may have been overlooked. You may have been doubted. You may have been told that you're too late, too old, too underqualified. But let me tell you this, God never overlooks His chosen ones. And when your moment arrives, no one can stop it. And if you're still doubting whether this applies to you, look no further than real-life examples that reflect this same principle. Take Oprah Winfrey. Born into poverty. Raised by a single mother. Abused. Rejected. Told early in her career that she wasn't fit for television. But she didn't wait for permission. She didn't let her circumstances define her potential. She aligned herself with her divine calling, and wealth, influence, and purpose followed. Not because she was lucky, but because she believed in the seed that God had placed within her. Because she became the kind of person who attracted the destiny that was already written for her. So now, let me ask you plainly, what about you? Are you still waiting for the right conditions? Waiting for someone to validate you? Waiting for everything to be perfect before you step into your purpose? If so, let me be the voice that breaks that illusion. Stop waiting. The dream within you is not random. The vision that keeps returning to your heart, no matter how much life tries to bury it, that dream is evidence of your calling. And here is the truth that will set you free: if God gave you the vision, He has already prepared the provision. The resources, the connections, the opportunities, they've been put in place. All that's missing is your decision. You don't have to manufacture greatness. You don't have to force your way into abundance. You simply have to step into what's already yours. Wealth, purpose, influence, it's not about where you come from. It's about where you're going. And where you're going is not determined by your circumstances, it's determined by your alignment with the calling God has placed inside you. It's time to stop seeing wealth as something far off. It's not a reward for the lucky few. It's a reflection of who you are becoming. If you become the person who's ready to receive it, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, then nothing can stop it from flowing into your life. So again, I ask, what about you? Will you continue to sit in the waiting room of life, hoping that something magical will happen? Or will you rise in faith, knowing that what God has for you was never meant for someone else? Because here's what you need to remember: you were not created to chase blessings. You were created to walk in them. You are the evidence that God still raises up the unlikely, the underestimated, the overlooked. And your story is about to reflect His glory. It all starts with a decision. Not a decision to work harder. Not a decision to prove yourself. But a decision to believe. Believe that what's been placed inside of you is not a mistake. Believe that your past cannot disqualify you. Believe that your pain had a purpose. And most importantly, believe that the wealth you've dreamed of has already been aligned in your favor. Because if God planted the dream in your heart, then He's already placed the resources in your path. You don't have to wait another day to feel qualified. You don't have to wait another year for the perfect conditions. You are already enough. You are already equipped. You are already chosen. And now, you are ready. What comes next is the moment where everything begins to shift. Because once you accept the truth that your success was written into your destiny, the way you think will change. The way you walk will change. The way you speak and decide and move will reflect a person who knows they are divinely backed. You were chosen for a greater purpose. You were born for more. Now the question is, will you claim it? There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when the waiting must end. When the questions must become declarations. When the prayers must be matched with movement. This is that moment for you. Not because something magical has suddenly appeared, but because the truth has always been waiting for you to take action. God has already placed inside of you everything you need to succeed. Every skill, every vision, every ounce of strength and insight, it's already been woven into your being. You're not lacking resources. You're not missing tools. You're not waiting on heaven to send something new. The only thing missing is your movement. Your action. Your bold step forward into the very path that's already been prepared for you. And yet, how many people stay stuck in cycles of delay because they've bought into a lie? The lie that they're not ready. The lie that they have to wait for better circumstances, for more signs, for a perfect moment that never comes. But here's the truth you need to hear with clarity today: you don't need the conditions to change, you need to change. The door has already been opened. But only you can walk through it. The book of Proverbs tells us, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." This is not just a proverb, it is a spiritual law. Your reality is a reflection of your inner alignment. If you think from a place of lack, you will live in lack. But when your thoughts shift, your actions follow, and your world begins to transform. This is not about behavior modification. It's about identity activation. When you believe, deep in your heart, that you are worthy of abundance, you begin to move like someone who knows it's already theirs. Still, the temptation to wait lingers. To say, "I'll move when I'm more confident. I'll act when I have the money. I'll speak up when I see the opportunity," but look closely at those who've stepped into greatness. They didn't wait for signs, they became the sign. They didn't wait for conditions, they created them. The people who rise into wealth, purpose, and influence aren't the ones who waited for guarantees. They're the ones who moved forward with conviction, even when everything around them looked uncertain. The work that will make you a millionaire has already been set into motion. The universe has aligned. God has given the word. The blueprint is in place. But the manifestation of that blessing is waiting for one thing: your decision to move. There is a sacred difference between knowing that something is possible and walking in it. Between saying, "I believe," and showing the world that belief through your daily steps. You might be asking yourself, "What if I'm wrong? What if it's not time yet? What if I move too early?" But let me ask you this: what if you're right? What if the very thing you're hesitating to do is the action that would unlock everything? What if all the waiting, all the preparing, all the praying, has led to this precise moment? Would you really want to delay what heaven has already made ready for you? Many people stay stuck not because they don't know what to do, but because they doubt whether they are worthy of doing it. But chosen one, you must understand this deeply: your hesitation does not protect you, it delays you. Every day you wait to act is a day you postpone your breakthrough. Every time you second-guess your direction, you send out a mixed signal to the universe, and mixed signals create mixed results. The energy of delay is the enemy of destiny. And the truth is, action is what breaks delay's grip. You must shift your energy from hesitation to decisiveness. From thinking like a struggler to acting like someone who is already walking in success. The inner transformation must come first, and the external shift will follow. Because the world doesn't respond to what you hope for, it responds to what you believe and act upon. So ask yourself, honestly, have I been waiting for something that I already possess? Have I been praying for open doors when the door is already in front of me, unlocked, waiting for me to walk through it? Have I been standing in the shadow of my own purpose because fear convinced me that movement required permission? Today, let that fear fall. Let it be replaced by certainty. Because when you move with certainty, heaven moves with you. The people you need, the resources you've prayed for, the support you've dreamed of, they're already in motion. But they cannot align with you if you stand still. Movement is not just about effort, it is about alignment. And alignment is not something you wait for. It's something you choose. You must begin to see action not as a risk, but as a declaration of faith. Each step you take tells the universe, "I'm ready. I'm available. I believe." And when your actions match your identity as someone chosen for greatness, everything around you begins to shift. Doors that were once locked open effortlessly. Resources that felt distant begin to flow. Opportunities that seemed impossible begin to materialize, because you've become the kind of person who matches their frequency. God has already spoken favor over your life. The plans to prosper you are not a vague possibility. They are promises. But just like a seed that will never grow unless it is planted, your abundance will not manifest unless you move. And move now. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Now. Because nothing changes until you do. The good news? You don't have to figure out all the steps at once. You just need to take the first one. God honors movement. The universe responds to momentum. And once you begin, clarity comes. strength comes. Divine guidance increases. This is how the shift begins, not with having all the answers, but with having the faith to start walking. So here is your activation point: stop waiting for the right conditions. You are the condition. You are the catalyst. You are the one this moment has been waiting for. If you truly want the wealth, the purpose, the elevation that has been promised to you, then it's time to stop waiting and start moving. And now that this truth has been spoken, you cannot go back to pretending you didn't hear it. You cannot unknow what has been revealed. You were never meant to sit still in the presence of destiny. You were meant to rise, to walk, to act. Let this be your line in the sand. The moment when belief turned into boldness. When theory became embodiment. When your yes became action. And from here, we shift again. Because if action is the first key, then what comes next is the mindset you must build to carry this calling. We've broken the cycle of waiting. Now it's time to forge the thinking that sustains your wealth. Let's talk about the transformation that begins within. Because the only thing standing between you and your destiny now is fear. And fear, chosen one, is the final test before the breakthrough. Fear. That silent force creeping beneath the surface. It doesn't shout. It whispers, quietly but convincingly, telling you that you're not ready, not worthy, not enough. And yet, here's the truth: fear is not reality. It is an illusion. A shadow that only grows when you feed it with your energy, your attention, your hesitation. And if you're feeling it now, it's not because you've failed, it's because you're standing on the edge of something transformative. The trembling you feel is not weakness. It is confirmation. You are about to break through. The most dangerous thing about fear isn't the feeling itself, it's the way it convinces you to delay. To step back when you're meant to rise. To wait for certainty in a life that rewards only faith. Fear always shows up right before the blessing. Right before the promotion. Right before the breakthrough that could shift your entire destiny. And if you don't recognize it for what it is, you'll mistake it for a stop sign instead of what it truly is, a gateway. Just look at Moses. When God called him to lead an entire nation, he didn't rise in bold confidence. He hesitated. He questioned. "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh?" he asked. It was the voice of insecurity, of fear. And yet God didn't rebuke him. He didn't withdraw the calling. Why? Because God does not choose the qualified, He qualifies the chosen. You see, God isn't looking for perfection. He's looking for surrender. For willingness. For faith that moves even while shaking. What about you? Are you going to let fear dictate your destiny, or will you be like David, small in the eyes of others, but mighty in the power of faith? David didn't wait for confirmation that he could win. He didn't wait for someone to tell him the odds were in his favor. He stepped onto the battlefield without armor, without guarantee, but with a certainty that what was within him was greater than what stood before him. He didn't ask for permission, he knew the battle was already won in the spirit before it ever began in the natural. What if that same power is inside of you? Hesitation is the thief of blessing. Every moment you spend analyzing, overthinking, second-guessing, is a moment that you delay the destiny already written for you. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you, he just needs to convince you to hesitate. To wait for more proof. To wait until you're ready. But readiness doesn't come before you move, it comes because you move. You must understand that fear is not a red light, it's often the very signal that you are getting close to a divine opportunity. If you weren't on the edge of something powerful, fear wouldn't be present. The fact that it's whispering in your ear is proof that something massive is on the other side. Because fear always precedes expansion. It rises up just before the next level. That's why the most important decision you can make in moments like these isn't to fight the fear, it's to walk through it. On the other side of fear is your breakthrough. On the other side of doubt is your destiny. And on the other side of hesitation is the abundance that's been waiting for you all along. You don't need to feel brave to act in faith. Faith is not the absence of fear, it's the choice to move forward despite it. The greatest rewards don't go to the strongest or the smartest, they go to the ones who had the courage to keep moving when everything in them said stop. Chosen one, the time to delay has passed. You've been given the promise. You've been shown the path. Everything is aligned in your favor, but the universe cannot respond to indecision. Heaven is not activated by analysis, it is moved by faith. And now is the moment to walk by faith, not by sight. When you hesitate, you send out a signal that you're unsure, uncommitted, not ready. But when you move, even with trembling hands, you declare to heaven and earth that you believe. That you are claiming what is already yours. That you trust the one who called you more than the doubts that try to define you. And when that happens, everything shifts. Your faith decides your destiny. Not your talent. Not your background. Not your education. It is your belief, demonstrated through your action, that shapes your future. That is why those who rise into wealth, influence, and divine favor are not always the most qualified. They are the ones who decided to move when others hesitated. They are the ones who acted as if the promise was already done. So now I ask you, what would happen if you stopped waiting for certainty and started walking in faith? What could shift in your life if you stopped feeding fear and began feeding belief? How different would your reality look if you trusted God more than your insecurities? The answer is not far away, it's already within you. You don't need more time. You don't need another sign. You don't need every question answered. You need a decision. Right here. Right now. Because when you step forward despite the fear, you shift the atmosphere around you. You change the vibration of your life. You signal to heaven that you're ready. And heaven always responds to readiness wrapped in faith. Remember, fear is loudest right before the breakthrough. That's not a coincidence, it's confirmation. It's the last pushback from the old life that knows it's about to die. And if you can press through it, if you can lean into the discomfort and walk anyway, you will see that what you feared was never real, it was just the final barrier between you and everything God has already prepared. So if your heart is racing right now, if your hands are trembling, if your mind is whispering all the reasons why you're not enough, good. That means you're right where you need to be. That means you are standing on holy ground. That means your breakthrough is closer than ever. And so I challenge you, don't wait for courage, step in faith. Don't ask for proof, be the proof. Don't let hesitation rob you of what has already been written in your favor. Because the truth is, the longer you wait, the louder fear becomes. But the moment you move, it loses its power. It fades. It shrinks. It falls. This is not just a motivational idea, it's a spiritual law. Just like David, just like Moses, just like every chosen one before you, you have been called not because you are fearless, but because you are willing. And that willingness, when matched with divine favor, is unstoppable. Now is the moment to rise. Now is the moment to act. And as we step forward, we must prepare to break the patterns that have limited us for far too long. If fear has kept you stuck, then doubt has kept you silent. And that silence must end. Because the mindset that carries you through fear must now become the mindset that aligns you with generational abundance. It's not just about facing the fear, it's about thinking like someone who's already overcome it. There's a reason why some people rise into extraordinary wealth while others remain stuck in cycles of struggle. And it's not what most think. It's not talent. It's not privilege. It's not luck. The difference between the wealthy and the ordinary begins, and ends, in the mind. The wealthy operate from a mindset of certainty, while the ordinary remain trapped in cycles of doubt. One walks through life expecting abundance. The other merely hopes it might show up, someday, somehow. If you look closely, you'll see the pattern. Ordinary people spend their lives waiting for signs, waiting for perfect timing, waiting for someone to believe in them. They approach life with hesitation, constantly second-guessing, allowing circumstances to dictate their faith. Their thoughts are focused on lack, and so they keep attracting situations that reinforce that reality. They say things like, "I just hope things get better," or "one day, maybe." But hope without conviction sends a weak signal to the universe, a signal that says, "I'm not sure I believe it's possible." Now compare that to those who are truly wealthy, not just in their bank accounts but in their energy, their mindset, their identity. These individuals don't wait for success to appear before they expect it. They don't beg for opportunities, they align with them. They carry themselves like success is inevitable. They speak like it. They walk into rooms like they belong there. Why? Because their inner world already reflects the outcome they desire. They understand the law of alignment. They know that life doesn't reward wishful thinking, it rewards certainty. The core distinction lies in expectation. The wealthy expect things to work out in their favor. They expect doors to open. They expect their efforts to multiply. This is not arrogance, it's alignment. It is a knowing, deep in their spirit, that abundance is already theirs, and that every step they take is leading them toward it. And because they expect success, they move with boldness, make decisive choices, and remain unwavering in the face of uncertainty. It's not that they don't face challenges, it's that their mindset turns every challenge into fuel. In the Book of Kings, we are given a powerful example through the life of Solomon. When God appeared to him and offered him anything, he didn't ask for riches. He didn't ask for power or popularity. He asked for wisdom. Why? Because he understood that wisdom brings everything else. And what happened next? God said, "I will also give you what you did not ask for, both wealth and honor, so that in your lifetime you will have no equal among kings." Solomon became the richest, wisest king of his era, not because he chased wealth, but because he aligned with the purpose behind it. His request was in harmony with divine wisdom, and so the wealth came as a byproduct. This is the revelation: wealth is not something you pursue, it's something you align with. When your thoughts, your energy, and your actions match the vibration of abundance, it flows to you naturally. You don't need to manipulate, chase, or control it. You simply become a match for it. But when your thoughts are rooted in fear, when you constantly reinforce lack, when your words declare struggle, even unknowingly, you repel the very thing you desire. This isn't magic, it's spiritual law. Let me ask you something. When you wake up in the morning, do you feel like someone who is already wealthy? Do you speak as if success is inevitable? Do you walk like someone who carries divine favor? Or do you shrink yourself with phrases like, "I can't afford that," or "I don't know if I'm good enough"? Because every thought, every word, every action is either aligning you with abundance, or pulling you away from it. Most people live in scarcity not because they lack potential, but because they remain tuned to the frequency of fear and doubt. They see obstacles and stop. They hear "no" and give up. But those who have tapped into divine wealth, those who live with extraordinary impact, see challenges as confirmation that they're on the right path. They stay in motion. They stay in belief. And because of that, they receive what others only dream about. What you expect, you attract. Read that again. If you expect difficulty, it will meet you at the door. If you expect abundance, it will begin showing up in unexpected ways. This is not motivational fluff, it is the blueprint of creation. Your expectations shape your energy, and your energy shapes your experience. If you walk through life with a defeated spirit, life will continue to hand you defeat. But if you rise each day with expectation, if you declare, "Wealth belongs to me. Success is drawn to me. Favor surrounds me," you begin living as someone who no longer hopes, but knows. You must realize now that wealth is not about chasing more. It is about aligning deeper. It is about choosing to think, feel, and act like the person who already lives in abundance. The wealthy are not lucky. They are intentional. They do not wait for outside validation. They trust their internal conviction. They do not speak from fear. They speak from knowing. And that knowing shifts the world around them. You've seen this. You've felt it. Now, the question is, will you choose it? Because here's the greatest truth of all, it is not luck that separates people. It is alignment. It is the daily decision to tune your thoughts, your words, your habits to a frequency that reflects divine prosperity. When you make that decision, again and again, wealth begins moving toward you, not because you chased it, but because you became a mirror of its nature. So pause and reflect, what frequency have you been living in? Are you operating from expectation, or hesitation? From conviction, or convenience? From fear, or from faith? Now is the time to shift. Because in the next part of this journey, we will explore exactly how to align your inner world with external wealth. Not someday, not in theory, but starting now. The power to step into divine abundance isn't waiting outside of you. It's already inside, waiting to be tuned, activated, and unleashed. Let's go deeper. There's a sacred truth woven into the fabric of this universe, one that most overlook in the rush of daily life. Your outer world is nothing more than a mirror of your inner world. The reality you're experiencing, your circumstances, your opportunities, your finances, is simply reflecting the frequency of what you believe to be true about yourself. This is not an abstract concept. This is the foundation of divine law. If you are living in lack, it is not because you are destined for struggle. It is because, on some level, your energy, your words, your emotions, are still aligned with scarcity. And until that alignment changes, the outer world will continue to echo back the same result. This is why some people, despite working hard and praying fervently, remain stuck in financial frustration or emotional stagnation. Their prayers are sincere, but their frequency is fragmented. They speak words of hope, yet deep inside, they carry doubt. They dream of abundance but make choices rooted in fear. The universe doesn't respond to what we want. It responds to what we believe. It responds to what we feel deep in our heart. And that's where transformation must begin. Proverbs 23 verse 7 says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." This verse isn't referring to fleeting thoughts that pass through the mind. It speaks of the deep beliefs, the ones hidden in the heart. The ones laced with emotion, with certainty, with repetition. Those are the thoughts that create. Not the ones you entertain for a moment, but the ones you rehearse in your inner world every day. The belief that, I'm not enough. The fear that, money is hard to come by. The shame that whispers, I don't deserve more. These are not just thoughts, they are frequencies. And they have been shaping your life quietly, consistently, and powerfully. But what if you could shift that frequency? What if you could interrupt the old patterns and broadcast a new signal, one of abundance, worthiness, and divine alignment? That is exactly what this moment invites you to do. And the path forward is not complicated. In fact, it's incredibly simple, but it requires intention. It requires that you engage your spirit, your mind, and your actions in unison. Because transformation doesn't happen by accident, it is a daily practice of aligning with who you were created to be. There are 3 spiritual practices that, when done consistently, begin to recalibrate your frequency and rewrite your reality. The first is visualization. Not just daydreaming, but deeply feeling and seeing yourself as already successful, already free, already walking in overflow. This means waking up in the morning and, for a few minutes, stepping into the identity of the version of you who has already received what God has prepared. What does that version of you wear? How do they speak? Where do they live? What does their peace feel like? Feel it, see it, know it, not as a fantasy, but as a future waiting to be accessed. The second is affirmation. Speaking truth over your life with unwavering conviction. These are not empty phrases. They are declarations of alignment. When you say, I am already wealthy, money flows to me effortlessly, I am aligned with my divine purpose, you are not trying to convince the universe. You are activating your faith. You are replacing old internal programs of fear and lack with the energy of divine confidence. Words have power. They are carriers of vibration. And when spoken with belief, they reprogram your subconscious and release spiritual authority into your atmosphere. The third is alignment in action. This is where many stop short. They think, dream, and speak well, but their actions are still rooted in fear. They hesitate. They shrink. They make small decisions from a place of limitation. But faith without works is dead. You must act like the person you're becoming. Spend like someone who trusts in divine provision. Walk like someone who knows their destiny is secure. Speak with the assurance of a leader who is already chosen. You don't have to fake it. You simply need to embody it. Not from ego, but from divine identity. Every time you choose to act from your higher self, despite what your bank account says, despite what circumstances suggest, you are rewriting your future in real time. And here's the shift you must make: stop trying to change the outer world first. The promotion, the money, the opportunity, they are not the cause. They are the effect. You are the cause. Your frequency, your belief, your inner world, that is the root. When you lift your vibration from fear to gratitude, from anxiety to assurance, from hesitation to obedience, the entire ecosystem around you begins to rearrange. You become magnetic. Not because you're striving harder, but because you are finally in harmony with the reality God intended for you all along. Let this settle in your spirit: the wealth you desire is already available. The doors are already open. But they remain invisible to the version of you still tuned to fear. You don't need more evidence. You need more alignment. You don't need another sign. You need to act on the truth you already know. The moment you shift internally, the external begins to catch up. This is the way of the kingdom. This is how miracles manifest, not by begging, but by becoming. So today, ask yourself, what frequency am I living in? Are my thoughts aligned with overflow or with lack? Do my words match my destiny or my fears? Are my actions reflecting the millionaire within, or the version of me still stuck in delay? This is not about pretending. It's about upgrading. It's about stepping into spiritual maturity and choosing to co-create your future with God, rather than passively hoping for change. You have the power to transform your life. And that power is activated through frequency. You've already been told that success is not something you chase. It's something you align with. Now, it's time to take that revelation and live it. When your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors begin to reflect abundance, abundance must appear. Not because the world owes you anything, but because you finally stopped rejecting what was always meant for you. You are the gate. You are the vessel. You are the frequency. And the moment you become it, the reality must follow. Let this be your moment of alignment. Let this be the day you stop adjusting to your circumstances and start adjusting your frequency. And as you do, you'll begin to see what others cannot: doors opening, favor flowing, and miracles manifesting, not from effort, but from alignment. Because next, we're going even deeper. You've shifted your frequency. Now it's time to turn belief into movement, to take bold, faith-filled steps that unlock the blessings already written in your name. What happens when you stop waiting to feel ready, and start moving as if you already are? You're about to find out. Faith is not a thought. It is not a feeling. It is not a hopeful wish whispered into the wind. Real faith, transformative, destiny-altering faith, is proven through action. If you are waiting for everything to be perfect before you move, if you are standing still hoping that more signs will appear before you take the first step, you have misunderstood the very nature of how breakthroughs are born. The truth is, what you are hoping for is waiting on the other side of your movement. Heaven responds to those who move in faith, not to those who wait in fear. There is no such thing as perfect timing, there is only divine alignment. And divine alignment becomes visible the moment you decide to act. This is why throughout Scripture, the people who experienced the most radical transformations were not the ones who waited for confirmation, they were the ones who obeyed without seeing the full picture. Abraham was called by God to leave everything familiar, his homeland, his family, his security, and go to a land he had never seen. There was no GPS, no map, no visible guarantee. But he moved. And because he moved, God made a covenant with him that birthed a nation. What if Abraham had waited? What if he had said, "God, show me the land first, then I'll go"? He would have missed the promise. But he didn't. He walked in faith, and because of that, the way unfolded before him. Think about Noah. There had never been a flood before. Rain itself was rare. Yet when God told him to build an ark, he obeyed, not because the skies were dark, but because his faith was. He endured mockery, years of construction, and complete uncertainty. But he didn't need evidence. He had a word. And because of that word, he built. Because of that obedience, he survived what no one else did. His action, long before the storm came, became the very thing that preserved his legacy. Peter walked on water. Not because the sea was calm, not because there was a bridge, he walked because he responded to a call. Jesus didn't calm the waves before Peter stepped out. The miracle didn't happen on the shore. It happened in the step. Peter stepped out of the boat in the middle of chaos, and as long as his focus was on the one who called him, he did what was humanly impossible. It was only when fear crept in that he began to sink. The lesson is not that faith eliminates risk. It's that faith redefines what is possible when you move despite the risk. And perhaps the most radical example of divine acceleration is Joseph. From a pit to a prison to a palace, Joseph endured years of betrayal, abandonment, and false accusations. It seemed like nothing was working in his favor. But what no one saw coming was that in a single day, Joseph went from being a forgotten prisoner to becoming second in command over all of Egypt. Not a gradual rise. Not a slow build. One moment in alignment. One divine appointment. One undeniable shift. And everything changed. Why? Because Joseph didn't just dream, he prepared. He remained faithful in obscurity. He honored God with his attitude and his actions. And when the moment came, he was already the man needed for the position. This is what the spiritual law of movement teaches us: action is the activator. Faith is not proven in your declarations, it's proven in your decisions. It's not what you say you believe, it's what you're willing to do without having the full picture. That's where the miraculous lives. Not in the comfort zone, but on the edge of uncertainty where your obedience meets God's timing. The reason so many people never see the fullness of their calling is not because God hasn't provided, it's because they never stepped toward what He already prepared. They kept waiting to feel ready, not realizing that readiness is revealed through movement, not before it. So now, the question is personal: will you act before the evidence? Will you step even when the path is dimly lit? Will you believe enough to move, not just pray? Because here's the truth: if you're feeling afraid, you're probably standing right in front of your breakthrough. Fear is not a stop sign. It is a signal that you are close to the edge of something transformational. The enemy knows this, which is why he sends fear as the final test. He knows that if he can get you to freeze here, to doubt here, to hesitate now, you will miss what has already been written for you. You were never called to wait until everything made sense. You were never designed to live small. And you were never meant to play it safe. That burning inside you, the restlessness, the hunger, the whisper that there's more, it's not a delusion. It's your destiny speaking. And it is asking one thing from you now: move. Move before you see the proof. Move before the conditions are perfect. Move even if the world tells you it's too soon. Because when you do, the provision will meet you on the path. The miracle will meet you in motion. Think about it: every person who has walked in destiny didn't do it because they had guarantees. They did it because they had faith. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson trained long before fame ever came. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination before he reshaped culture. Oprah was told she wasn't meant for television before she became a global voice. None of them waited for the world to believe in them. They believed first. They moved first. And because of that, the world responded. And now, it's your turn. The energy is shifting. The divine timing is set. The path will not fully reveal itself until your foot hits the ground. You don't need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. You don't need the applause of others to validate your direction. You simply need to trust the voice inside of you, the one that has never left, the one that keeps pulling you forward. So here's the invitation: take the step. Apply for what scares you. Start what's been in your heart for years. Speak the truth even if your voice shakes. Move in the direction of your purpose with the certainty that heaven is backing you. This is not blind optimism. This is divine principle. When you move in faith, the supernatural responds. The doors swing open. The waters part. The way is made clear, but only when your feet begin to walk. And as you walk, remember this: hesitation delays destiny. Delay is not always about divine timing, sometimes it's about our unwillingness to move. But you are different. You are chosen. And chosen ones don't wait for proof. They walk by faith. So let this be your moment of shift. Let this be the day you say, I won't wait any longer. I'm ready, even if I don't feel it. I'm moving, because the calling is greater than the fear. And as you move, everything you've been praying for will begin to move toward you. Because next, we dive into the heartbeat of discipline, the daily habits, the quiet commitments, and the internal structure that sustains the momentum you've just ignited. You've taken the step of faith. Now it's time to learn how to walk in that momentum every single day. What if it's not about feeling inspired anymore, but about building a lifestyle that guarantees your elevation? Let's go deeper. There is a truth that separates those who wait from those who rise. It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not background or connections. It's speed, not the speed of impulse, but the speed of alignment. The faster you come into agreement with who God says you are, the faster your reality begins to shift. And this speed doesn't start on the outside. It begins within, where decisions are made, where identities are embraced, and where destinies are either delayed or accelerated. Many people spend years waiting. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for the perfect sign. Waiting for a clear roadmap before taking the first step. But chosen one, let this be your wake-up call: heaven isn't waiting. The promises have already been spoken. The provision has already been aligned. The only thing left is your movement. The spiritual realm does not reward hesitation. It responds to certainty. When you walk as if it is already done, you activate the laws of divine momentum. The doors that once seemed closed begin to swing open, not because the world changed, but because you changed, your energy shifted, your spirit aligned, your faith took the lead. Look at Joseph. He went from prisoner to ruler in a single day. That wasn't luck. That was the result of years of preparation, unwavering faith, and perfect spiritual alignment. When the moment arrived, he didn't hesitate. He was ready, and because of that, he ascended into what had already been written for him. Acceleration comes to those who are prepared, not just in spirit, but in discipline, mindset, and obedience. Speed, in the kingdom of God, is not measured by how fast you can run, it is measured by how quickly you can believe. How quickly you can surrender your doubts. How quickly you can obey without having all the answers. That is what separates the ones who hope from the ones who receive. Are you still waiting to feel ready, or are you ready to act as if readiness has already been declared over your life? Some of the most successful people on earth are not those who had more opportunities, they are those who moved quicker when opportunities appeared. They didn't wait to feel confident. They decided that confidence would follow their action. That's the same principle that governs divine speed. Heaven accelerates what you believe for, not what you hesitate over. Spiritual acceleration is real. It's when years of delay collapse into days of breakthrough. It's when what seemed impossible yesterday becomes your testimony today. But it doesn't happen to the passive, it happens to the aligned. And alignment is not passive. It is aggressive faith. It is decisive action. It is walking into a room and knowing that favor is already waiting for you. You must ask yourself honestly, are you living as someone aligned with abundance or as someone still debating if you're worthy of it? Because the longer you dwell in uncertainty, the longer you delay what is already yours. Let's look at another example, Nehemiah. When he was called to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, it didn't take years, it took 52 days. Why? Because he moved with urgency, with clarity, and with spiritual authority. He didn't let fear slow him down. He understood that once the vision was confirmed, delay was disobedience. And chosen one, the same is true for you. Delay is disobedience once your calling has been confirmed. Speed is also a mirror. It reflects what you believe about yourself. If you move slowly, hesitating, second-guessing, it reveals hidden beliefs of unworthiness, fear, or doubt. But when you move boldly, with pace and precision, it tells heaven and earth that you are fully aligned, fully convicted, and fully available for what God has already designed. So how do you cultivate spiritual speed? You begin by eliminating the distractions that slow you down. The overthinking. The people-pleasing. The endless cycles of, what if? Then, you replace them with declarations of certainty, it is already done. I am who God says I am. The path is opening before me as I move. You make bold decisions quickly, not recklessly, but faithfully. You say yes to the opportunity. You say yes to the challenge. You say yes to the version of you that is already walking in abundance. And when doubt whispers, you answer not with hesitation, but with holy fire, I will not delay what heaven has prepared. You must also understand this, speed magnifies results. When you are in alignment and move with velocity, your influence compounds, your momentum multiplies, and your authority deepens. Things that once took years will begin to manifest in days, not because you rushed, but because you aligned and obeyed without delay. This is why your daily actions matter. Are you moving with intention? Are you organizing your life around the belief that you are destined for wealth and impact? Or are your habits still echoing fear? Because what you do daily is either accelerating your destiny or anchoring you to delay. There is no in-between. This is not a call to burnout or busyness. This is a call to sacred urgency. A call to realize that the clock of divine timing is already ticking. And every moment you hesitate is a moment you extend your own wilderness. Every day you delay is a day you push your breakthrough just a little further out of reach. But the reverse is also true, every step you take in faith, every move you make in confidence, brings you closer to the life already written for you. This is the moment where you shift from waiting to advancing. From hoping to receiving. From slowly trying to fully embodying the energy of someone who knows they are chosen. So let me ask you, what would your day look like if you truly believed that divine speed had been activated in your life? How would you act? What would you say yes to today? What would you no longer tolerate? Because from this point forward, that is the energy you must live in. The energy of bold obedience. The energy of swift movement. The energy of divine momentum that cannot and will not be stopped. Your time is not later. Your time is now. Your calling is not tomorrow. It is this very moment. So move. Walk forward. Pick up the pace. Heaven has already released what you've been praying for. Now it's on you to move fast enough to receive it. And as you step into this rhythm of spiritual speed, get ready for the next revelation, because once you align with velocity, the flow of abundance will come with such force, it will require a new level of identity to sustain it. There's a hidden rhythm to divine success. It doesn't follow the logic of time, it follows the logic of alignment. And the faster your internal world agrees with your spiritual destiny, the faster your external world transforms. This isn't theory. It's the sacred equation behind every breakthrough you've been praying for. The speed of your abundance matches the speed of your alignment. When you think like someone who's already successful, when you feel it deep in your soul, when your actions speak louder than your doubts, everything begins to move at an accelerated pace. That's why some people rise faster than others. It's not because they're smarter or luckier. It's because they decided faster. They aligned quicker. They didn't wait for perfect clarity, they moved with perfect conviction. And the universe, governed by divine law, responded with speed. Look at the story of Joseph. For years, he endured betrayal, false accusation, and confinement. But the moment his alignment was complete, when his heart was still faithful, his character refined, and his spirit unshaken, everything shifted in a single day. He went from the prison to the palace without any warning. Genesis 41 verse 41 tells us, Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I hereby put you in charge of the whole land of Egypt." That wasn't luck. That was spiritual acceleration in motion. What about you? Have you been carrying a vision that feels delayed? Have you been walking through seasons of struggle, wondering when your moment will come? The truth is, it's not about time. It's about alignment. Your breakthrough isn't waiting for a date on the calendar. It's waiting for you to embody the version of yourself that's ready to receive it. The moment you shift your energy from "maybe someday" to "it is already mine," you activate divine momentum. The universe, heaven, and everything in between begins to conspire on your behalf, not slowly, but swiftly. Because certainty sends a signal. Hesitation confuses the flow. But boldness opens the floodgates. This is why you must stop thinking like someone hoping to succeed. You must start moving, speaking, deciding like someone who already carries success in their spirit. When your thoughts align with abundance, your words speak from ownership, and your steps echo the rhythm of faith, you become magnetic. Opportunities accelerate. Resources appear. People are drawn to you without understanding why, because your spirit is in resonance with breakthrough. You are not here to crawl toward success. You are here to command it with spiritual urgency. Not out of desperation, but from the deep awareness that your moment has already been written. What's holding you back from moving as if it's already done? Is it fear? Fear is nothing but friction against divine flow. Is it waiting for confirmation? Chosen one, this message is your confirmation. The signs have already shown up. The doors are already unlocked. Now it's your pace that must rise. Do not make the mistake of waiting for the world to give you permission to act. Permission was granted the moment God placed that calling inside you. There are two kinds of people in this world, those who delay because they doubt, and those who accelerate because they believe. And here's the truth, the universe does not reward hesitation. It responds to certainty. When you make quick decisions from a place of alignment, when you move without apology, when you wake up each day declaring, "Success is chasing me today," you become unstoppable. Heaven recognizes that frequency. The earth yields to it. And nothing, not opposition, not delay, not even your past, can stop what's coming toward you. You were not meant to wait. You were designed to walk boldly into what is already yours. Let's be clear, this is not about rushing. This is about moving in step with divine rhythm. It's about refusing to sit in stagnation when the Holy Spirit is nudging you forward. It's about recognizing that speed is not recklessness. It is readiness. So ask yourself honestly, are your decisions today coming from fear or from faith? When you receive a new opportunity, do you freeze or do you act? When an idea for expansion enters your heart, do you dismiss it or do you pursue it immediately? Because the velocity of your destiny is not set by outside forces. It's set by your belief and your behavior. And you cannot claim to be ready for elevation while still moving like someone who's unsure of their worth. Act fast, and results will come fast. This isn't a motivational quote, it's a spiritual law. Faith without action is dead, but faith in motion is the spark that ignites miracles. This is the moment you start speaking from your future, not your fears. What does someone who already has the blessing sound like? How do they walk into a room? How do they approach a decision? The spiritually wealthy don't tiptoe through life, they stride. They don't over-explain their vision, they live it out. And most importantly, they don't delay when destiny knocks, they answer immediately. This is what spiritual acceleration looks like. Not chaos. Not rushing. But divine readiness paired with immediate response. It's trusting that every time you step forward, the ground will form beneath your feet. So what would happen if today, right now, you stopped living as if success was a distant dream and began living as if it was your current reality? How would you respond to emails? To conversations? To financial decisions? How would you show up to your goals? Because the truth is this, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe. And belief isn't just a thought, it's a posture. A frequency. A decision repeated daily through attitude, speech, and action. So from this point forward, your posture must shift. Stand tall. Speak with clarity. Move with urgency. No more waiting. No more second guessing. No more rehearsing your future while playing small in the present. You are being called to move faster. To trust deeper. To act with the spiritual boldness of someone who knows the assignment is already in motion. You are not creating the path, God already laid it. You're just walking it. And the faster you walk, the faster things align. Now, as you step fully into this rhythm of divine acceleration, there is one final transformation waiting, the full embodiment of your identity as the chosen one. Not just in belief, not just in hope, but in your daily reality. And that's where we go next. The work that will make you a millionaire has already been prepared. These words are not just a summary, they are a spiritual seal. A sacred reminder that the assignment you carry, the vision burning within you, and the abundance you've been seeking were never distant possibilities. They are already set in motion. All that remains is your response. Not someday. Not when you feel ready. But now. This isn't just the end of a message. It's the beginning of a new chapter in your spiritual walk, a chapter where you are no longer the one waiting, but the one rising. This is your confirmation. This is your call. For too long, you've looked at the walls around your dreams, the obstacles, the limitations, the waiting periods, and you've wondered when they would fall. But like the people of Israel marching around the fortified city of Jericho, the key was never in the strategy. It was always in the faith behind the movement. Joshua 6 verse 20 tells us that when the people lifted their voices and acted in obedience, the walls didn't slowly erode. They collapsed in an instant. This story is more than ancient history. It is the spiritual metaphor for your life right now. Those barriers, financial limitation, fear of visibility, old belief systems, imposter syndrome, they are not permanent. They were never meant to withstand the sound of your obedience. But they only fall when you move. You don't need another sign. This is the sign. This is the moment everything changes, not because something outside of you changes, but because you choose to step into who you already are inside. You have been prepared for this. Every trial, every delay, every closed door has been refining you. Not punishing you. Preparing you. And now the preparation is complete. You are not being asked to strive. You are being asked to surrender, to trust that what was spoken over you has not been cancelled. To trust that your wealth, your influence, your destiny have not been stolen, but reserved. Hidden until your spirit aligned with it. And now, it has. This is not a time for passivity. This is a time to rise. To live as if you are already aligned with the frequency of divine success. Because the truth is, you are. So what does it mean to rise? It means making decisions today like the person you are becoming, not the person you've been. It means waking up tomorrow with a new posture, a new authority in your voice, a new expectancy in your step. It means no longer questioning if you're worthy of the blessing, but declaring, I am the one it was written for. It means letting go of smallness. It means letting go of timidity. It means rejecting delay and hesitation as your default settings. Because they no longer belong to the version of you that's walking into divine overflow. This is the moment to activate everything you've received. Not just intellectually. Not just emotionally. But practically. Spiritually. Boldly. Write in the comments below, not as a formality, but as a declaration. Type the number 999, the symbol of divine completion, transformation, and fulfillment of purpose. Let this be your covenant. Your outward sign to heaven and earth that you are no longer circling your calling, you're claiming it. And if this message has stirred something within you, if it has confirmed what God has been whispering in your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video to send your agreement into the atmosphere. Subscribe to this channel so you remain anchored in spiritual alignment. Share this message with someone you love, because maybe, just maybe, they've been waiting for someone to remind them of who they are, too. And if you feel led, if something in your spirit is prompting you to sow into this word, you can do so through super thanks. Not out of pressure, but out of divine gratitude. Out of reverence for the God who just handed you a map to your next season. But more than anything, more than comments, likes, or contributions, I ask you to choose. Choose to live as someone who already carries what they once only prayed for. Choose to walk like Joseph, even when you still feel like a prisoner. Choose to speak like Solomon, even if wisdom feels far off. Choose to move like Joshua, even while the walls still look unshaken. Because the truth is, your energy has already shifted. Your spirit has already said yes. Now your body, your mind, and your decisions must follow. And if you do, if you dare to believe that this is already yours, the world will respond accordingly. The gates will open. The right people will appear. The acceleration you've heard about will become your lived experience. You will stop surviving and start leading. Stop shrinking and start shining. Stop wishing and start witnessing the reality of heaven manifesting in your everyday life. This is the moment when your calling becomes your conviction. When your vision becomes your voice. When your dreams become your destiny. Don't let this moment pass as just another video. This was a divine transmission. This was the alignment you've been praying for. This was the activation of your inheritance. You have reached the end of the message, but you are only at the beginning of the breakthrough. And now, beloved chosen one, there is only one thing left to do. Rise. Rise with your head held high and your spirit grounded in truth. Rise with the fire of your calling burning through every excuse, every delay, every doubt. Rise like the millionaire you already are in spirit, in purpose, and soon, in reality. Because the work has been prepared. The moment has arrived. And you are ready. Let's walk into it, together.